Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela, and welcome back to Sunday, 6/11/2023. I decided to go ahead and do another week ahead spread with once again, the This Might Hurt Tarot Mass Market Edition by Isabel Rotman. I said last week I was forcing myself to use this deck because I hate the cardstock. And it was a card deck that I was automatically thinking of getting rid of, even though I love the cards, despite the fact that the cardstock is horrid. I was forcing myself to use the deck because I didn't want to give up that easily. So I did a spread with it last week to kind of start the week ahead. And I find it only fitting that I'm ending the week using the same deck. Now, I will say my thoughts have changed on this deck. I have learned to deal with the cardstock. I have learned to shuffle it differently. So my typical riffle shuffle I can't do, but I've learned to shuffle it in other ways. And it has led to some amazing readings this week. So it will be staying in my collection. Yeah. So anyway, if you're just tuning in, I took a break from it for a long time, but I usually do the energy, obstacle, and advice for the week ahead. Usually for myself, the last couple weeks, I've set the intention that this is for the collective, not just for me, but anybody. So if anybody resonates with this spread, or with this reading, just comment below, let me know, what you think. So without further ado, let's get started. So for the energy of the week, I pulled the Hermit card. And I haven't looked at these cards. I did do a meditation beforehand and pulled the cards. I just haven't looked at them. So here we have the Hermit for the energy of the week. And it's almost like, because the Hermit is my card of the year. And every time I turn around, I'm pulling this specific, I'm pulling the Hermit card in any deck. Just to remind myself, maybe you're overdoing it a little bit. Maybe it's time to, even if it's just for a day, take time to be in hermit mode. And I realize every time I've pulled this card this year, that the hermit overall, because when I came into the hermit year, I was like, no, we are not going to have a whole hermit year where I'm not doing anything, or I'm going inward, or I'm being still, or being silent. And it doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means this is a year of introspection. This is a year of digging deep. And I've already dug so deep into the cards this year, way deeper than I have before. I'm being very selective with what decks I'm buying. It's just a different year, and that it is, despite me saying I'm going to do everything I can to not be a hermit, it has still been a hermit year in the fact that I'm learning more. I'm diving deep more. I'm taking time to be still, be silent. And then every time I pull the card, I realize in the time I'm pulling this card, it's at a time in my life where I'm either working the two jobs, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that, or I'm doing this, or I'm going here, or I'm going there. And I've been so busy that I forgot about myself again. So the Hermit pops up to remind me, hey, it's time to take a little step for yourself, a little moment. Even if it's just a day, even if it's just an hour, it's time to take a breather. And that's what I feel here with this Hermit. It's not, and look, he's at the top of the mountain with the snow, despite the amount of stuff going on that's happened. It's a female in this deck. Despite everything going on, she's made it to the top. She's there. So you're going to get to where you need to go. You just need to take a breather in between, is what I'm saying here. So for the obstacle for the week, obstacle of the week, I pulled the Nine of Swords. And it's funny because that is the deacon we just left in Gemini, was the Nine of Swords. And we just, depending on how you look at it, either yesterday or today, starts the new deacon of the Ten of Swords. So this is the obstacle. And I think it goes hand in hand with the Hermit card, is because look at the top. She's at the top of the mountain. She's in deep snow, it looks like. Snow is still coming down, but yet she's made it. This Nine of Swords is telling me that whatever's going on in your head, it could be preventing you from reaching the top of the mountain, reaching that goal. You just have to get out of your head. Yeah. And it's funny because they're both nines. I don't know what that means. Let's see what number, because I'm not into numerology. So let's see, what does the number 9 mean? That's my phone, sorry. What does the number 9, number 9. It represents completion, although not a final ending, more like the fulfillment of one cycle so that you can prepare to initiate the next one. It's a recognition of life's ongoing ebb and flow. Interesting. That's what it said here. Interesting. But I do see it as, if you can get out of your head this week, you'll be able to not just achieve the hermit mode, but achieve other tasks while in hermit mode, if that makes any sense. And then we got the advice for the week. Oh my God. These cards none of them look great. They all have this dreary looking background. And we have the death card. Again, there's something about something ending and something beginning with the Nine of Swords and the death card, because the death card is an end of a cycle as well. It's the end of something, and you got the sun popping up overhead back there, where it's reminding you that a new day is coming. And I want to hear, and it's funny because I just did this in the Ten of Swords in the Deacon 3. I keep hearing this too shall pass. So whatever's going on for this week, I feel like it's a more... okay, so like last week when I did the week ahead spread, it was clearly for someone... about their job, about looking to see if the grass is always greener on the other side. And maybe that person took the other job, even though the cards were telling them to stay put. And they're realizing their mistake here. But I do get with the death card, there is a finality, but it's also a new beginning. It's something new happening. Interesting. So let's see what the book says on these. So for the Hermit, and again, I think last week I got 2 majors also, and I got 2 majors here. And it's funny because we got 9, 9, and then 13. Just weird. Okay, for the Hermit. The Hermit stands alone on a snowy mountaintop, holding aloft a lit lantern. In tarot, the night represents the unknown. The lantern is her inner guiding light. The 6-pointed star within the lantern is a symbol that has been used by many cultures to represent the merging of dichometric entities. You may recognize it as the Star of David or the Hindu Shatkana. Within the star, we see the alchemical symbol of all 4 elements merged. Interesting. The Hermit is surrounded by snow. In modern tarot, Michelle T. describes snow as water, emotions made tangible by cold air as logic. Many people who do not wish to be alone are loath to see the Hermit card. Try not to fight it, as it true with any card that you don't want to see. Resisting will only make it a bumpier ride. This doesn't mean you need to quit therapy, rent a cabin in the woods, and throw your cell phone in a river. You just need to withdraw enough to listen to yourself. And that's kind of what I was saying. Even if it's just an hour a day, take time for you and have that introspection and that quietness. You have everything that you need inside you, but you need the quiet to hear it. Let your inner voice be a lantern to guide you through the night. And I've got this yesterday, or maybe last week. I got a similar thing. So that's, yeah, it's almost like a continuation of the reading from last week. Interesting. But I don't feel like it's for me. It's for somebody out there, but not for me. 9 of Swords. Nine of Swords, the Nightmare card. Nine of Swords around the head of a woman who is overcome with mental anguish. Swords represent thoughts, so here we have a visual representation of overthinking. The Nine of Swords implies anxiety, depression, chronic stress, insomnia, night terrors. Sorry about that. The Nine of Swords implies anxiety, depression, chronic stress, insomnia, night terrors, and paranoia. When the Nine of Swords comes up for me, I always take it to mean the same thing. The anguish might be in my head, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. And I love that idea that it's all in your head. And I can't even tell you how many times I've been told, oh, it's all in your head, especially when it comes to spiritual stuff. If I have a dream about something and I've been told, oh, well, it's something you saw in your waking hours and it made it over into your dream. And I'm like, how is that possible? That I'm seeing something prior to, though. Like, makes no sense. Or, like the first time I had a mediumistic experience, I was literally seeing a man falling off of a red, wet, black and white Kawasaki bike repeatedly over and over and over like a loop in my brain. I was literally seeing it as if I were watching a movie, a silent movie, because it's always silent. But I'm seeing it clear as day, like I'm watching it on a projector. And turns out the woman's husband died on a red, black, and white Kawasaki bike. He was beheaded on the bike, off the bike, on the same kind of road that I was seeing, like this highway, but it was like country as well. And I'm like, how is this possible? How is this all in my head? So that, I've been in that situation where there's mental anguish or mental things going on, and people are like, oh, it's just in your head, just it's not real. But then it is real. You know what I mean? It is real to you. It's something that you're seeing. Until I actually talked to the lady whose husband had passed, I was seeing that for 24 hours straight. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't do anything without constantly seeing this on a loop. And I love that she writes in here that just because, let's read that again. I always take it to mean the same thing. The anguish might be in my head, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. And I love that because to you, it's very real. Just like with emotions or feelings, your feelings are hurt by somebody and they're like, oh, walk it off. I didn't mean it that way. You may not have meant it that way, but it still hurt. Right. So, and I think that is the very thing that we need to think about as the obstacle of the week for this week is it may be in your head, but it's real to you. And maybe that's the thing we need to work on is realizing it's not real, or realizing that we can change that mentality. Okay, continue. Crisis of mental health and chronic stress are serious health problems that need to be dealt with. Your mental torment may be internal or stem from an external source, such as trauma or a person gaslighting you. Regardless of the problem, your emotional prison is not helping. What you need to do now is break the anxiety loop. And that's what I did with that other is until I broke that loop or talked to her, it was not going away. With the Nine of Swords comes, remember, coping mechanisms that have worked for you in the past. Turn the swords away from yourself. I suggest reaching out for help, friends, family, community, or a mental health professional, talking about what is going on and will be best way to get out of your own head. And then I too found that just changing your environment, going for a long walk by the river, if you live by a river, like I live in the middle of, I live in the suburb area of Kansas City, Missouri. I live 5 minutes from downtown, but I also live by a river. There's also other smaller rivers that people can go fishing near and all that. And I found just walking near those things or taking a walk in my own yard barefoot. It's raining really bad today and it feels like it's really cold, but even just being out at my table outside, just getting off of electronics and being away from electronics and not watching TV, just being out there in the silence, just listening to some mellow music helps change that mindset. So it's whatever works for you to get out of this stuck mindset is what I'm saying here. That's beautiful. And then we have death. Oh, Lord. These do not. Death. First of all, death card doesn't mean you are going to die. It just means something is going to die, and that despite your fear, you need to let that happen. Death rides a white horse, arriving to strike down the four figures in the foreground, who represent the idea that death comes for us all, regardless of our status or the way we live our lives. Money will not save the rich man, prayer will not save the pious man, acceptance will not save the young woman, and innocence will not save the child. In death, we find a powerful metaphor for change. People, plants, and animals are always dying and begin being reborn. Death is represented or required for life. If the death card shows up in a past position in your spread, it can represent grief either for an actual death or a metaphorical one. When this card comes for you, something in your life must die to make way for something new to come into being. It can be anything, a relationship, a career path, an aspiration. Change is unavoidable. Death shows us the moment when we allow change to take place. Let it go and know that a setting sun will always rise again. I love that. I love this little book. But again, to me, it's like the continuation of the last week when we were talking about the career path. And I'll post a link for that below if you guys haven't seen that spread, or that week ahead spread. But that's what I feel here is like, again, maybe there's mental anguish because I think I drew the Two of Swords last week. I can't remember. There was a decision that needed to be made. Should I stay or should I go? Kind of situation. And now it feels like you continued on where you're in this introspection mode, but you're having anxiety about making this decision. And the death card is just there to remind you that regardless of what decision you make, something has to end. Either the anxiety of the mind or the job change or something. Something has to end, or it will be ending regardless if you change it or not. And then I just want to pull real quick from my Wild Woman Rising deck. I've been pairing these two together all week, and let me tell you, the craziness. I actually paired it with my Austera Tarot as well, the 3 decks together, and they've been amazing. Amazing together. It's crazy. But I just want to pull another card for this because look how beautiful that is. Yeah. This is the Wild Woman Rising Oracle deck. And it's all about female empowerment, really. But let's see here what we can do. Let's see. Gather your loyalties. And again, to me, it almost speaks of the job thing again. Somebody's in for a big career change, I feel like. And look, I had that page marked with a paper in it. That's weird. Both Geese and Wild Woman are known for their grace and loyalty, traveling together and refusing to leave one of their own behind. But more often than not, we forget to include ourselves in the loyalty formation. And it's funny because they're talking about not leaving one behind, as in the death card. Interesting. But more often than not, we forget to include ourselves in the loyalty formation. Remember that no is a necessary magic. Let go of anyone or anything that requires you to let go of yourself. Wow. When we remember to be loyal to our soul's needs and our time with deep in self, Wild Woman rises. And I think that's quite fitting for this spread, talking about the death card and learning to let go, but don't let go of you. You can let go of many things, but don't let go of who you are. Because once you remember who you are and know who you are and embrace that power, anything is possible. And I love that. Love that. So that is the week ahead for June 11, 2023. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a good night. Bye.